Hey, good morning, everyone. Brett Rump from the Sports Rush. And of course, we don't have a show. We didn't have one Thursday, didn't have one Friday. We got to wait till Monday. Man, I cannot wait until Monday to talk about this deal Chris Ballard just made, trading the number 3 pick down to number 6 and giving it up to the New York Jets. This could end up being the steal of the century because the Colts still have a chance to pick up their guy, Bradley Chubb, at number 6, because you start looking at, these 5 picks in front of them, you might see 4 quarterbacks go. And then it comes down to the Broncos. Well, what are the Broncos going to do? Would it be a 5th quarterback? I know they like Quentin Nelson, the offensive lineman out of Notre Dame. I'm not so sure that the Broncos would pass on Barkley, which means you might still see Bradley Chubb on the board at number 6. It's a gamble so worth taking for Chris Ballard because now you've got this handful of picks that you've acquired. He said that the way he wants to build his football team is through players that you draft, you get on the cheap rookie contract, and then you keep who you want, and you're selective with the process of who you keep on that second contract. He's doing it exactly as he said he would do it. So this could be a huge steal for the Colts, especially if they end up getting Chubb anyway at number 6. I can't tell you how excited I am as a Colts fan for what he did. And if you're a Colts fan, you should love, not like, love this deal that Chris Ballard just made, because you're going to get a lot of good quality talent through that second round. You've got the extra picks. I mean, it could be absolutely a steal. And it's the advantage of having a top 3 pick, not needing a quarterback, and knowing maybe you could slide a couple spaces and still get the help you need, whether it's Quentin Nelson, the offensive lineman out of Notre Dame, Bradley Chubb. Heck, I'm not even giving up on Barkley being there at number 6, because these teams that are desperate to trade up, they're all looking at quarterback. I'm not even sure if Cleveland's going to jump in with one of their 2 picks and take Barkley, because I think they might trade one of those 2 picks by the time it's all said and done. So I think this could ultimately be a great deal for the Indianapolis Colts and Chris Ballard. Well, we saw it last night. Number 16 over a number 1, UMBC. Quick, what's the acronym? Yep, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. No one saw it coming from the Retrievers. And I'll be honest, that the question I had about Virginia all along, and I've asked this question of numerous analysts and guests that we've had on the show that seem to know a lot more about college basketball maybe than I do. I doubt it, but they at least toot their own horn that they do. And I've asked the question, did Virginia have a good enough offense to advance in this tournament? Because I think you got to score the basketball when you get in the NCAA tournament, because all these teams can defend, all these teams can score, all these teams can shoot the 3. And I was just questioning whether or not Virginia really had enough offense that they were going to be able to rely on defense only, which is pretty much what they do, to advance in the tournament. They couldn't even get out of the first round. They couldn't even beat a 16 seed. In fact, they got beat by 20. They gave up. And the problem with Virginia is because they don't have much of a high-powered offense, when they start falling behind double digits in the second half, they got no clue what to do, because they don't score. They don't go on runs. They don't take the pace of the game and increase tempo to get extra possessions for a chance to cut into that kind of deficit. You saw it. Virginia was lost in that second half because they're not a team built to come back from double-digit second-half deficits, and ended up being worse rather than better as the game went on. So congratulations, UMBC. Coach Odom, they did a terrific job last night. They're probably going to get smoked in their next game. Who they got? Kansas State. They'll probably lose by 20, because these are kids that, number 1, had the adrenaline and the excitement of beating a number 1 seed. And then, number 2, they played that game Fortnite, whatever. I don't know. My kids are all into it. Apparently, that's something you do like all hours of the day and night. You get hooked on this Fortnite, whatever that is. So I think they'll end up getting smoked in the next round. So I don't think They're going to last real long, probably won't make it out of the weekend, but they are now the answer to the trivia question: who was the first 16 seed to knock off a number 1 seed? And now for future 16 seeds, you know what can happen. Also, Purdue loses Isaac Haas. That's a bad one. Purdue is still going to be good. Purdue is still going to be a tough out. But it's a whole different game plan now for opposing coaches. In fact, you almost wonder, LaVall Jordan, who's up next for Purdue, coach of Butler, you almost wonder, how do you game plan for Purdue right now? Because with Isaac Haas out there, at least you knew what you were getting. You knew what kind of offense Purdue was going to run. You had plenty of tape through 30-some games to take a look at how you defend Isaac Haas, whether you run the double at him, whether you try to go man-to-man and pick your poison. I don't know if Weidman was going to be big enough to even try to challenge Isaac Haas, but it doesn't matter now. Haas isn't going to be in there, and when you go to Matt Harms, you've probably got a guy that's good for about 22 minutes, which means now you got 18 minutes of basketball where you got to figure out who's going to be your 5. I think Purdue spreads the floor. I think they rely on guys like Carson Edwards to make plays on penetration. I think it's the only thing they can do. I think, you might see Nojel Eastern get time out there. Grady Eifert might get some time out there to try to be a rebounder at the other end of the floor. It's going to be tough for Purdue. And if this would have happened mid-season where Purdue had time to adjust to it and maybe practice a different offense, then maybe it would have been a different story. But the fact that this came up with 1 day to prepare for Butler and what you're going to do, there's not practice time. You don't have a lot of court time because you're kind of resting the body from yesterday's game and you're getting scout for tomorrow's game. I think that's going to be the challenge for Purdue, is what kind of an offense do they run, and are they prepared to run an offense that doesn't include a big down on the low block like Isaac Haas? Just tough all the way around. And personally, it's tough because Isaac Haas has been a good guy. Class act all around. He, as a senior, his career now over at Purdue. That's probably the toughest part of it. Wins and losses. Hey, there was no guarantee Purdue was going to win a national championship, even if Isaac Haas was healthy. But the sad part of it is you've got a guy that's been such a big contributor to the success of the team this year, and he's not going to be able to be on the court with his team the rest of the way. We've got basketball coming up this afternoon. Be sure to join us from Huntington North High School. We are going to have the 1A North Semi-State with the Blackhawk Christian Braves taking on Southwood. And I've got the call of that game. I hope you come out and tune in, whatever the case may be. If you're at the game, make sure you remember to take your mobile device. We're on the TuneIn radio app. Also, if you're not near radio, log on your computer to espnfortwayne.com, or you can listen the old-fashioned way to the radio. It's at ESPN 1380 and 100.9 FM. I'll have the call live from Huntington North starting at about 3:50 this afternoon. It's going to be another great day of basketball. I might jump on here on YouTube and talk to you about it sometime later. But at this point, I'm out. Enjoy your sports weekend. Enjoy the NCAA tournament. And I hope you're tuned in for Blackhawk Southwood coming up this afternoon at 4 o'clock.